My name is Catherine Gabriel, and I'd like to invite you into our gallery here at the Beaverlodge Art and Culture Center. And we have a brand new show, the first show of the summer of 2021. We have The Seeker's Journey Continues with Carmen Haakstad, and this is his first show as a full-time artist. And he grew up in the Peace Country, in the South Peace Country here, and went to university in Minnesota at Duluth and played hockey in the varsity team there, and also earned a degree in art, and somehow managed to meld interesting life with hockey and art, which you would think would be two very diverse interests, and with a nice career in the private sector in between that as well. So without further ado, thank you for coming on this virtual tour. I'm going to turn this over to Carmen, and he's going to give you a little tour of the gallery and the exhibit. Okay, Carmen.
Thank you very much, Catherine. It's a real pleasure being here in Beaverlodge. It feels like coming home. I have one of my paintings called Coming Home. I wrote a poem about that, and the reason it's coming home, we grew up in the Peace Country. My mother's farm was just north of the glass, and you'll actually see a painting in here called The Coffee Break, and it's actually a image of my father and two brothers out hunting north of the glass, and we were actually going to be making that into a puzzle, which we'll show later on in the video. Some of these works are recent works. At an exhibition at the Art Gallery at Grand Prairie last year, and unfortunately it had closed for COVID. So I'm very honored and really happy to be able to show some of those works again. And then there's some works that I've done over the years, my spiritual series, and some of them are up for sale for the first time. So the exhibition is for sale, and hopefully people will have a chance to come and see it. And thought we'd just walk around and give a little tour of the works. The ones that are behind me are images. Most of them are from my memory. I believe an artist has to be an observer, and I like to observe on a daily basis, and these are capturing sort of my impression of the Peace Country, the flat land and the prairies. And one of the things, if you've lived in the prairies, you'll always enjoy the large, big skies that we have, and the clouds and the storms, and the canola fields. As you'll see, this one is canola field, and the top one would be more closer to the foothills with a fall scene, and sort of almost like seascapes, but they're prairie-scapes. And we walk around the corner here. As I mentioned earlier, living in the prairies, we have these large skies, and they're really the changes of the seasons, but also changes of the evening, even the day. So this one's sort of a morning scape. You'll see sort of the pinkish in the clouds. And if we just sort of move over into the painting here on my right, is what I call titled Big Sky, and again, it's that distance of horizon that goes on forever, and it's a painting to really appreciate it, is to look from a distance, and I think you feel like you can actually walk into this painting. So as an artist, you have to create that illusion of depth. And so as we move further into the show, we talked about the landscapes. I also love trees and love working, painting on wood. And I was actually in Puerto Vallarta in 2005, and I picked up a little piece of wood. In fact, it was this piece right here, and it had the word domino on it. And on the plane on the way home, I sketched an image that I call The Seeker. And I thought I'd like to do a large seeker, and hence here's a life-size seeker that some people say it looks like me. So there's a bit of at least a Haakstad profile. And in the image next to it, I call it Domino the Seeker 3. It's an image of a stump and it's sort of like a spirit or a figure that goes around the stump. And one of my favorite Canadian artists from the group of 7 is Lauren Harris, and he did a stump, I think it's called the North Shore, and it was done on Lake Superior, and that's actually where I went to university, was in Duluth, which was a harbor city right by Lake Superior. And so I don't know if there's any connection, but I really, this painting that I refer to, I actually did in high school, so it was my first oil painting. So this is sort of a tribute to Lauren Harris. And if we could look at the painting next to it, I call that the Dancing Spirits. I've often said that paintings should speak for themselves, so I sometimes even hate to put a title on them, because every viewer will bring something new, a new experience, a different experience than I am as an artist. So I think it's a painting that should be contemplated, and hopefully you get a chance to see it. One of the things I like to do as an artist is also write poems, and it's something that I have done for a long time, but I've never really published them. But I'm now that I am a full-time artist, I'm going to be publishing my works on my website at carmenimages.com. And I'd like to read the poem that I wrote for this painting. It's titled Going Home. Moment by moment we're going home. Cherish each moment, for we never know when it could be our last. The light and darkness remain a mystery. Each moment, each season, we learn. The beauty is in the journey, not in the beginning or in the end. I also wrote a poem for Domino 5/6, and it's called The Sliver of Light, The Journey Continues. It will be posted at the show here when you tour. Okay, the painting next to the Sliver of Light is called Live Life in Thy Balance. I think it's the only poem that I remember actually being able to recite after I wrote it, and that is, live life in thy balance, mind, body, and soul. Living in harmony, we humans will achieve our goals. So it's you have to really see it, I think, to appreciate it. There's a lot of symbolism. Each domino, actually, face of the domino has a meaning as well, which is documented. And the next painting I call Domino 5/5, and it's sort of my rendition of a crucifixion. And I believe we're all spirits having a human experience. And so this is actually, some of these images started and came to me back in 1986. So it's just been challenging my faith, and I really believe we're all connected through our creative spirit. I'd like to finish today's video with a coffee break. It's a sort of a feature painting of the show. It's historic, painted in 1981. It is the last hunting trip that I actually went on with two of my brothers, my brother Lyman and my brother Joe. And two tractors that you see in the painting are actually two of our farm working tractors back in the day. And the red tractor is actually the one that I learned to drive on. It's actually, I probably was only 10 or 12 years old before the rules were in place where you could drive before you were 16. I'm sure it still happens today. But anyway, we also use these tractors on our hunting trips because we didn't have quads back in that time and era. So we ended up, I started a company called Carmen's Images, and we have explored the idea of creating a puzzle out of this painting, and it was to be ready for the show, but unfortunately because of COVID it's been delayed, and hopefully it'll be up before the show ends. So if you're interested in seeing or buying a puzzle, you can go online at carmensimages.com or come to the Beaverlodge Art Gallery, and it'll be in the gift shop.
Carmen, thank you so much for that fine tour of your show, and I'm sure that people are going to want to come and see it after because seeing it in person has just adds another dimension to the whole show. So I'm hoping that people who see the video can come in and see the show. And this is another one that I love, this little piece of actual tin can there. And I understand that this may have been a piece of metal that you actually hammered onto a real door as a kid. So anyway, you gotta come and see that. Anyway, Carmen, thank you so much for the fine tour of your show. And I'm sure that people are going to really enjoy it. It's really dynamic, and it looks great in our little gallery. So thank you.
Well, Catherine, I just really want to thank the Beaverlodge. I always refer to Beaverlodge Gallery, but I know it's the Art and Cultural Center, and it's near and dear to me. I remember Doris McFarland and the team working at saving this place when I was with the Art Gallery in Grand Prairie, saving that building. So we talked. So having an exhibition here is really close to my heart, and just want to thank you and your summer staff, the Lee Help, and I want to thank my sister Gail and my wife Gail. I have two Gails in my life. Both always are helping me, because when you put on an art exhibition like this, you can't do it alone. And so I just want to thank you and all my other family members that have helped.
Well, you were a great team. You had a great team to put it together, so thank you.
Yeah.